Welcome back to the show, folks. It's Thursday, so it's time for Thursday Tier Talk. I'm your host, Niall. The Dazzler will be joining us shortly. He just got a bit delayed. But yeah, we got an action-packed show for you tonight. We'll also keep you updated on the Europa League, an absolutely blistering game going on at Old Trafford at the moment. It's Man United 2, Barcelona 1. 4-3 on aggregate at the moment. United with the advantage there. Anthony cropping up at the goal on 73 minutes. Fred scoring just after half time with a lovely team goal. And Lewandowski opened the scoring on 18 minutes with a very soft penalty, I would think most people would agree. But we'll keep you updated on that and we'll let you know how it's going on. We have it here in the background, so if that happens, you'll be the first to know. We have got a fantastic Premier League preview for you coming up. A lot of games that are going to affect the relegation battle this weekend. And we will be previewing the Carabao Cup final. We'll be talking about the fallout from the Champions League. And of course, we're going to start the show as only we can. Today we got word again this morning that another footballing great has passed away on 77 years old. One John Motson. So we just said we'd flash this up here. So R.I.P. John Motson, the voice of football in the BBC and on Match of the Day and on commentary and stuff like that. He has given us some fantastic moments over the years, been absolutely stellar. But yeah, very sad loss for football and stuff like that. And sad to see him bow out, but had a fantastic career on commentary and stuff like that. I remember him describing Liverpool's loss to Wimbledon, the crazy gang getting one over on the culture, the culture crew or something like that, and it was describing Liverpool. It was a tough one, all right. Ted's in the comments. How are we, Ted? Dazzler's well not making it until this game ends. Then this Dazzler will not be making this show then because the show goes ahead and that's it. If he wants to watch the Barca game, fire away. Coyle's in. Big up, Coyle. Big up, Niall. Pity that Shire are winning again. Yeah, it's, you know what it is? They're going back to the way they used to be, Coyle. They're just finding a way under Eric Ten Hag to get the job done, to grind out results and get goals, and they don't get as phased as they did when they fall behind. They keep on working hard for each other. They have better options now from the bench and stuff like that with the opportunity to change things up. Weghorst went off at halftime. Anthony came on. Sancho got involved, all that kind of stuff. So they've much better options now, Coyle, to turn games around as well. So, yeah, that's where they're at the moment. It's a killer. Joanne's in the comments. How are you, Joanne? Saying hi, Kyle. Absolutely. And we will be going through Beat the Bookie later, so you can let us know your picks and tips for the weekend later on in the show. As always, we'd ask you all to do that, but always gamble responsibly as well. So we're going to kick it off, and we're going to start with a Premier League preview. So we start with Friday night, Fulham versus Wolves. Certainly an interesting tie. Kicking off at 8 p.m. Fulham have been on an absolute tear, but they're going up against Wolves 8 p.m. on Friday. Just about to introduce my co-host here in the house. How are you, my friend? Just explain that.
Got a little bit delayed. Life got in the way, Noel. You know how it always goes down.
You look like you jogged home.
Oh man, you've no idea the day I had. Honest to God, like I've just come into the house here and it feels like the fucking tropics. So if I go missing for a minute, it's because I have to strip off a few clothes. But we're here now and we're ready to go. So that is the most important thing.
I gave the introduction there, and I just mentioned the sad loss today. 77 years of age. We lost John Motson, 1945 to 2023. The voice, and it's been a tough week. First of all, Dickie Davis, and now John Motson. It's like all our stuff from our childhood is just disappearing, isn't it?
Yeah, and I was actually in work this morning. I was in early and saw the messages coming through, and I was like, oh man. I was like, that's just horrible news. Just iconic, completely iconic, an iconic voice. You know, the sheepskin coat and the way that the love he just had for the games. You know, such a well respected man. I've never heard anyone say a bad word about him. I got to be honest with you, and there's few and far between that's goes for. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. And like tributes to him are pouring in today from all over sports, and yeah, he'll be absolutely sadly missed, no doubt
Yeah.
about it. I just kept people up to date as well on the Europa League. So I was just about to start the Premier League preview when you popped on. So
So
we can
we're all in
start
good
anyway.
time. We're
Yeah,
all
so
in good time,
Friday,
yeah.
Fulham versus Wolves, 8 p.m.
Yeah, Wolves on the back of a shock defeat last weekend for me, I got to be honest. At home against Bournemouth, I thought they were going to do a job. I actually brought in Ruben Neves into my fantasy football team. They've got a double game week this week, plus, obviously playing at home against Bournemouth. I thought he was going to be good for some points, and they were stifled. They really were. Bournemouth played very, very well. I think Lopetegui will be really let down though by the performance on the whole, and I think we'll see a much better version of Wolves this weekend. But it's a tough place to go. Fulham are so good, especially at Craven Cottage. They really, really are. So we'll have to wait and see. I think I would probably just favour Fulham, but I wouldn't be surprised to see it end in a stalemate in a 1-1 draw or something like that. I reckon 2-1 Fulham or a 1-1 draw is where we're looking at.
Yeah, good show. Saturday then, Newcastle versus Brighton is postponed, and obviously your own game. I think it was against was it Bournemouth or something you were due to play, or Brentford or something like that was postponed as well.
Brentford. It was Brentford,
Carabao.
yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
They've rescheduled it for Wednesday, the 25th of April, I think.
Perfect. So we'll go on. Everton versus Aston Villa. Big game for Emery.
Big game for both of them, Dyche obviously done wonders again last weekend. It's another huge win, Villa though floundering massively. I kind of, again, we've spoken about other teams before, and when I look at Villa, they're a team that are really, really unbalanced. There's kind of mismatches all over the pitch. He's trying to shoehorn players in. I don't necessarily put that down to him. I would put that down to the fact that you've got a squad there from 3 or 4 different managers, and he's dealing with a hodgepodge of players or manager signings, and it's tough. And I think to get the best out of Aston Villa, it's going to take a little while. You're going to have, this will be a slow burn with Emery. He needs a couple of windows. He needs to try and get rid of some of the wood and get some other guys in and stuff like that. So it's tough for them. I wouldn't fancy Villa's chances going to Everton. I have to be honest with you. And I never thought I would say that 2 or 3 weeks ago. But obviously, Sean Dyche, the new manager bounce has been huge. Everton very, very good at home, keeping things really tight, clean sheets all round, and nicking a goal here, there, and everywhere. Obviously, last week it was our own Seamus Coleman that got the winner, although a little bit lucky, you may say. He reckons he meant it, but I got to tell you, I'm not taking that one. If I'm honest, he said he had a look at the keeper.
Felt very tongue in cheek, didn't it? Really.
He said I had a look at the keeper, and I was like, "Get a look at the keeper. Stop, will you?"
You were having a look at someone on the back post, I'd say.
Must have been. Yeah, there was a bird in the front row and a rack out. Like there's no way he was looking at that. But I think I'll go Everton again, and I'm going to stick with it. I'll go Everton 1-0.
Yeah, what did you make of Emery's reaction after the game last week? Obviously disappointed at the 4-2 against Arsenal. It felt like it was never really a 4-2 game, that they were well in it, and probably good for a point, to be honest. But afterwards he came out and he went in on the goalkeeper, saying that he didn't tell him to go up for the corner and stuff like that. Now 3-2, 4-2, what does it matter really at the end of the day, but he really threw the keeper under the bus and stuff like that. And what do you reckon? It was just frustration reaction after the game?
No, I'd say at this stage he's a little bit frustrated by Martinez. Obviously we saw the antics at the World Cup and stuff like that. And then it's continued on at Villa a little bit. There does seem to be a little bit of Billy Big Bollocks about him. And I don't think Emery wants guys like that in his team and in his squad. I don't think he'll drop him, because I don't think he has enough behind him to drop him. But I wouldn't be surprised to see him leave in the summer. And Villa look to take in another number one keeper. I just think he's too big of a personality. He's not the kind of guy Unai Emery will want in there. Do you know what I mean?
Dare I say from our pro wrestling, a bit of a loose cannon.
Absolutely. And listen, here's the thing, like I played in goal, and you would never take step past that halfway line unless you'd been given the nod. So, like, you would make the assumption that that was the same for Martinez, and if he wasn't given the nod and he decided to go anyway, he's gone against what the managers asked him to do, and that's where you cross the line.
Yeah, I suppose I looked from the goalkeeper's side of it. I mean, he was obviously very unlucky with the Jorginho goal, hitting the back of his head and going in.
Of course he was. Of
And
course he was.
I got the feeling in the dying embers of the game, with only a couple of minutes to go or whatever it was, or a minute and a half or whatever, I think he probably felt obliged himself that he had to go up and do something to kind of make up for the ball going in off him.
Yeah, but you gotta remember, like, the likelihood of him going up for that corner and getting something. I mean,
well, see, it doesn't necessarily have to be him. He just has to draw a few players to open it up for someone else.
Of course he does. But, if he looks and he's told, no, you don't go, that's the end of it. And I just think Emre's probably going, listen, pal, you might have won a World Cup, and, you might be a good goalkeeper because he has won a World Cup and he is a good goalkeeper, but you're not too big to be dropped, and that's, I'd say he got at him at that way this week in training and stuff like that as well, I'd imagine.
Yeah. Just to let people
know.
He's
a strict disciplinarian. Like, that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's something he's always been into, and you don't go against the manager.
Yeah, absolutely. Just to let people know, we're into the first minute of injury time. 5 minutes to go. It's still 2-1 to Man United.
Yeah, Marcus Rashford went off with a knock.
Oh.
In the 87th minute. So he brought Scott McTominay on. Bruno's playing as a false 9, and just 5 in midfield now. Now, it didn't look like it looked like a knock. It wasn't anything too scary. He went up and challenged with the boy Aranjo up the far end, and he muscled him out of it, and he fell a little bit awkwardly. And he stayed on the pitch for a couple of minutes, but he went off soon after that.
Yeah.
But
maybe it's probably precautionary for Sunday or something like that.
You'd have to hope so, That's what the hope would be. But Barca are really, really they're going gung ho here. They're going very gung ho. Yeah, well, there's 92 minutes on the clock now. There's 3 more in at a time. They're really, really pushing, but it is leaving a lot of gaps around the pitch.
Joanne's in the comments. Hi, Kyle. And Kyle, big up Joanne. Joanne's going to be putting up some predictions for Beat the Bookie shortly as well. She's been knocking it out of the park on some of the stuff recently. And Kyle's back in again. United could finish ahead of us, ahead of Arsenal. They're on a tear at the moment, all right, and they're definitely in a title race. And Kyle, yeah, they're on the way back again. Yeah, absolutely. And Joanne said she just messaged Kyle. Cheapy back in. How are you, Morris? Any chance of Todd buying some money in the bank? Money in the bank tickets for the boys. Oh, I'll tell you, man. Not even Todd's money could get them. We've been trying for 2 days. Kyle, I left a voicemail, Joanne. Okay. And then Morris back in. He doesn't like Martinez from the Arsenal days. Yeah,
maybe so. Yeah, maybe absolutely. So.
And Ian's in the comments. What's the crack, Niall? It's Daz O'Clock. How you doing? We're doing all good, pal.
Absolutely.
Honest. So next up, Leeds versus Southampton. Another massive game. I said it before on the intro as well, Darren. This is a massive weekend for relegation battles.
Absolutely. I mean, there's certainly 3 of them there already, isn't there? The Everton Villa game, I would have down as a relegation battle. The West Ham Forest game and the Leeds and Southampton game. Absolutely huge games. Oh my God. Rafael Varane's just cleared one off the line. The ball goes to Lewandowski. He goes ball through the middle. No, ball goes out wide to the right. Plays it inside to Lewandowski. Lewandowski gets a pass to Gea, and Varane covers and clears it just off the line. Holy shit!
It's been some game.
I've seen none of it. Is he offside there? Maybe. Now it doesn't go in, but they're celebrating like he's just scored the winning goal in the World Cup. The defenders, Martinez has him by the scruff of the neck, and Luke Shaw and the Gea and
grab him, lads, by the scruff of the neck. Now is that not a sending off offence? No,
not if it's your own lads. Apparently, you need to be careful though. These things can be misinterpreted massively. Don't forget.
Anyway, Leeds versus Southampton.
Yeah, Leeds versus Southampton. Huge relegation 6-pointer. There we say. Leeds obviously at home will look to put a performance in front of that Ellen Road crowd. Southampton have nothing to lose, really going there. Obviously, Leeds have Javi Gracia, the new manager there, come in, which is huge. And hopefully he's managed to get a few ideas across. You'd have to hope Leeds get that new manager bounce. And if they do, it might just be enough to see them over the line here. Southampton obviously still without a recognised kind of manager, and like obviously very very difficult then to go and get results when you've got to sign a second in command and stuff like that. I'm going to go Leeds here. I think Leeds will just do this. Sorry, there's the final whistle at Old Trafford. Yes.
So, final whistle 2-1 to Man United on the night, 4-3
on aggregate.
And Man United will be in the draw tomorrow. So congrats
Sure
to
will.
Man United and yourself, Dazzler, and all the Man United fans out there.
Anthony with the winner came off the bench. Nice.
Your boy Fred scored a lovely one on 47, a real team goal. Really good.
Missed it completely. Haven't seen either of the two goals. I haven't seen either of them, so I'll be interested to see these now. I heard Fred's goal was a good goal, but I haven't seen any of it yet. I'll get them in the next few minutes, hopefully. But Leeds need a big performance this week, and I'm going to go Leeds. I'm going to go Leeds 2-0.
What did you make of the appointment of Javi Garcia?
He's got Premier League. Was able to keep Watford in the league, and then got sort of a raw deal a little bit and stuff like that. He's a good manager. He's got some experience under his belt and stuff like that. Was he somebody that was on the radar, as you would say? I don't think so. But I think, and the story I heard was there was 3 men on the shortlist, and none of the lads were available at this stage. So they went to a bigger 8-man list, and then they were choosing from the 8-man list, and Gracia was one of them, and that's where they went. So, yeah, it's a strange one, but it could turn up trumps them in the end,
Yeah, seems to me. I remember him managing at Watford and all. He's a very dour, sour kind of manager, isn't he?
Yeah, he always looks like they've just lost 1-0, But
yeah,
at times they've won 3-1, and you just think it gives a little bit there. Now listen, that Leeds crowd could do wonders as well for him, because Leeds fans are good fans. There's no love lost obviously between United and Leeds, but Leeds fans are very passionate fans. They'll make Ellen Road a place to be reckoned with on Saturday for Southampton.
Yeah, absolutely. Big game coming up at the top of the table as well. Leicester versus Arsenal.
Yeah, listen, I got to say, I thought Leicester were a little bit unlucky last weekend. Obviously came out of the blocks really, really well. Away to United, 2 unbelievable saves from David De Gea to kind of go top of the clean sheet chart with Peter Schmeichel in United with the record. He'd be looking to kind of overtake him this weekend if he can, but I think Leicester were very unlucky. 2 great saves, obviously Harvey Barnes and Kelechi Iheanacho were denied. And when the first goal went in, the first United goal, I just think it killed them. I heard an interview with James Maddison. He kind of said as much. He said, he said we had 2 great opportunities. He says the keepers pulled off 2 world-class saves. He says we've gone one down. He says we've just dropped our head and buried it. They were on a good run of form. They'd beaten Villa and scored 4. They'd beaten Spurs and scored 4. I think this could be a banana skin for Arsenal if they're not at the races. I got to be honest with you, because I think Leicester will be hurting after last weekend. We know Arsenal aren't unbelievable at the back, and Leicester can pick you off if you're not tidy at the back. I think there could be goals here.
End to end.
Very, very, end to end, very, very similar to last weekend, which was Arsenal and Villa. Something very similar on the cards, I think. And I think I'm gonna go 3-2 Arsenal.
Okay, interesting. I think I'm going to go for a draw on that one, but I think it's going to be a high-scoring draw. I think it could be a 2-2 or a 3-3.
2-2. Yeah. I was looking at 2-2, and I just think Arsenal and nick it. I just think they'll do enough, like they did last weekend. Last few minutes, they just start piling on the pressure, and there's just a little nick in the end, and that's what we're looking for.
The alternative to this will not be a game that probably has lots of goals in it. West Ham versus Notts Forest. Moyes under severe pressure.
Severe pressure. You got to look at West Ham and think, what's going on? Obviously, like they'd such a good season last year under David Moyes. They've kept, the majority of that squad, and they've added to it in places. The boy Lucas Paqueta and stuff like that, some good footballers. And the boy Scamacca, but they just haven't been able to put things together this season. I think there's been a drop off from a number of players, and that's cost them a little bit. You know, I think obviously those wing back positions, they like to play fives, and the last few weeks, I think Kufal and Johnson and Cresswell and guys like that have had really, and Emerson have had really poor seasons, offensively and defensively. I think Souček's been miles away from where he's been over the last few years. He was great for a goal every couple of games and was a titan in that midfield. It just looks like the legs have gone a little bit on him. Rice looks like he's trying to burden a lot of the team on his shoulders. Even Jared Bowen's having massive fall off. So West Ham are really struggling here. I think Forest will come here and put up a usually quite tidy at the back. They obviously had a great result last weekend against City. Now, don't ask me how they got the result, by the way, because I can't answer that. That game should have been, 6-1 to City. But they hung in. They rode their luck. They made saves, blocks, threw everything in the way. And they've managed to get out with a draw. I think on this occasion, I'll back up last weekend's draw with this weekend's draw. And I'm going to go West Ham and Forest is 1-1.
Yep, good shout. Take a few comments first. Ian's back in. It's Morris from GP Productions podcast. He will have Paul Roma on the show. Should be interesting. And Morris is in. Indeed, I'll be back on the catch up. Hope to hear some Potter praise. Ted, very happy with the result tonight. Get in, lads. What a game. Absolutely. And Acers is in. Morris has more of a chance of asking Stan Kroenke for WrestleMania 39 tickets than Money in the Bank tickets. Yeah, and still not getting them. Joanne's in. Are we doing predictions? We are. Joanne, fire away.
Do we have a few shots to fire at Acers yet?
I don't know. Do we yet?
Did he come in on United again last weekend? Barcelona are going to thump you. They're 9 points clear in the league. You are shy. Was there a bit of that going down? Was there a bit of that? There might have been, mightn't there? Yeah. So the team that sit below Barcelona absolutely tanked Liverpool the other night, and we've just knocked Barca out. Oh, yeah. Okay, fair enough.
Ted back in as well. Madison anytime and Leicester to win 2-1. Interesting. Good shout. And Joanne's in. Fulham 1, Wolves 2. And also
that's a big shout. Wolves away at Fulham. That's a big shout, Joanne.
Yeah, absolutely. And she got it right. She called the draw with Forest and City at the weekend. There you go. Everton 2, Aston Villa 2. And she sent me some predictions this evening on Instagram as well. And I think she got either 3 or 4 results right. Scores right. And she got a number of results right as well. So she's picking them at the moment. Leeds 2, Southampton 1. That was kind of around what you were thinking, Dazzler, as well. Coyle's in there. Yeah. Trust me, massive upset on Saturday. Leicester will beat Arsenal 2-1. And Joanna's thinking Leicester 2, Arsenal 3. Yeah, Darren, that was your show as well, wasn't it?
Sure was.
Yeah. And Acers, John Motson was absolutely the best there is, the best there was, and the best there ever will be at football commentary. RIP. Very nice little heart there. And Joanne, West Ham 0, Nottingham Forest 2. Another big result there. Joanne, if you put these bets on and they come in, you'll be hoovering up the cash. And Ian's in. I've set my notification on for the Paul Roma podcast. Shout out to everyone on the chat. And don't forget to watch and support all the football podcasts. So that's caught up on all our comments. Bournemouth versus Man City, the 5:30 game. We have a whole day of football on Saturday.
Sure do. And we have the evening game. I love the evening game. I got to be honest. I love the evening game.
Hate them.
Do you?
Yeah.
Do you hate being involved in them, or do you hate the game?
I hate being involved in them. We never do them.
Okay. But in general, you like that idea of the game.
What was our last one? Leeds.
I can roll from one game to the next. I like that.
Leeds was our last one at Christmas. Remember?
Was that 4-3?
No, I think didn't they beat us 2-1 in the last minute or something?
They beat you by a goal, all right, but I thought it was 4-3, maybe 3. Oh, anyway, they did beat you by 1. The boy Somerville got the winner, didn't he?
Yeah, I think it was 2-1.
Crescencio Somerville. Listen, I don't necessarily think lightning can strike twice. With the Man City and Bournemouth game, City will be absolutely raging they didn't pick up 3 points last weekend against Forest.
And last night.
I know. There's been a drop off like that, but you have to think that they're eventually going to come good. They can't keep putting in performances like this. And with that in mind, I suppose, I'll go tight, but I'll go City to nick it, and I think I'll go 3-1 City in a lopsided kind of affair, but doesn't look like it's been that lopsided. Maybe nick another one late on.
And the evening game, the 7:45 live on Sky, Crystal Palace versus Liverpool. Probably the last place you want to go after that.
I was gonna say, are you guys? Is that a little bit kryptonite for you guys? Guys don't like Selhurst Park, do you?
We don't like it at the best of times, but we don't like it when there's a lot on it, and we certainly don't like it when our confidence is in our shin guards.
yeah, absolutely. Like it won't be easy. It wasn't easy when we went there a few weeks ago. They make it tough. The boy Anderson is back from injury, which is a huge boost for our Palace. And Palace still a little bit miserly scoring goals, but if you're going to score goals against anyone right now, it would seem like Liverpool's not a bad place to start. Again, Liverpool, when I look at it now, you kind of think, well, they have an eye on Madrid. They shouldn't. They absolutely shouldn't. I'd be sending the reserves out against Real. I
wouldn't be sending the reserves out, but that game is miles away. We got to focus on top four. I don't expect us to get out now, but I'm not expecting any miracles of Istanbul or corner taken quickly or any of that. I think they're going to score over there, so it's not going to make a difference.
Well, listen, here's the thing. If the shoe was on the other foot, and if the home leg had been the second one, you might have thought with what went on against Barcelona at the Camp Nou and stuff like that, you might have been in with a spin of it, but not going to the Bernabeu like this.
This team is not that team. This team is no longer that team.
But I mean, we've always spoken about how Liverpool and the Champions League and Anfield is there's an opportunity for them to do something there. There always has been, and they're a team you can never count out of it. I just think that with the second half being in the Bernabeu, it just makes life so much more difficult. I would give Liverpool a chance if it was in Anfield. The fact it's in the Bernabeu, I'd give them none. Honestly, I'd be sending the reserves, and I'd be trying to pick up as many points I can the league to close that gap on Spurs and see if I can squeeze fourth place out of this season. Because let's be honest, if at the end of this season, and you guys have been absolutely horrid, if you guys could sneak fourth place, this would be as good as winning a league title for you guys. Keeping that Champions League money.
Be some consolation for a bad season.
Keeping that Champions League money, in the competition that all of the players want to play in. The big players when you go to the transfer window.
Yeah,
all of that, massive. Yeah, massive. And that's what I'd be doing. I'd be sending the reserves out.
Yeah, I don't think, even if the second leg was in Anfield, I don't think this team is just simply not that team. For one reason or another.
Yeah, but you know what? We've seen Liverpool teams who weren't the team that beat Barca come back and do things, because Liverpool teams in the past have been, ticking along in 5th and 6th in the Premier League, and all of a sudden go in the Champions League and just bombard some team, and you go, holy shit, what happened there? And it's happened, over the years. So it's not like it was lightning just striking. It struck many a time for Liverpool, but I just think the Bernabeu is a step too far for them, I'd be more worried about trying to get a result at Selhurst Park here. I think this will be scruffy. I think it'll be dogged. It'll be a mud bath. It'll be fucking cold. It'll be horrible. It'll be everything you don't want it to be. But I think you might just get out of here with 2-1.
That was my thinking, and I did do a preview on the channel that's up there now. So, and just a little sort of spoiler, it was 2-1 was my prediction. So yeah, not too bad. Let's take some comments. Joanna's going in here on the results. Bournemouth 2, Man City 1. Huge. She does agree with that. Palace.
I tell you what, Joanne. If you take Wolves, if you take Forest, and you take Bournemouth and put them in a treble, you'll never have to work a day in your life, because that'll pay some fucking heavy bucks.
Absolutely huge. Yeah. She agreed with us on the Palace, the 2-1. Acers just hoping for United versus Arsenal, the Europa League draw at midday tomorrow. Interesting. Darren, you wouldn't be too upset with that, would you?
Are Arsenal in the Europa?
Yeah, so this is like a qualifying stage. There's teams that have already gone through.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? You're playing against the Champions League drop downs. That's like a qualifying phase of it now. Into the next stage of the drop.
Oh, yeah. Did they have PSV in their group earlier on the season? They did, didn't they?
They did, yeah. They did.
Yeah. I wouldn't be. That wouldn't phase me at all. I got to be honest. Like you're going into the next round of the competition. Are we at the last 16 now? You'll
Yes,
probably be at
that's
8
what
and
you're
8,
going.
right? So
That's
yeah.
what you're going into now. Yeah.
So last 16. You know, if you're this far in the European competition, you're gonna have to beat some good teams. And Arsenal are just another one of them. So I'd take that absolutely, no problem with that at all.
Especially over two legs.
Yeah.
Let's talk then. Sunday, 1:20, Tottenham versus Chelsea. We know that Conte ain't going to be there. He's probably not going to be back till the following week for the FA Cup game against Sheffield United, I think it is. But this is a massive game for Graham Potter, isn't it?
I just think this is going to be an awful game of football. I won't lie. I just think this is going to be a shocking game of ball. Two teams kind of, lost at the minute, aren't they? They both look lost. They've no identity. You don't really look at them and know what they're trying to do. And I just think this is going to be a damn squib. This be a 1-1 or something like that. I don't personally think it's going to be anything special to watch. I think there'll obviously be flashes of brilliance from the likes of Son and Kane, and the Chelsea lads. Joe Felix has been quite good, and the boy Mudryk hasn't been as good as I've expected him to be. Yes, but he will. He absolutely will. He's a top footballer. But I just think it's going to be. You're looking at a game where you expect so much from two teams, and I just think it's going to under-deliver massively, unfortunately.
Like a draw?
I think 1-1. I think 1-1, yeah.
Unfortunately,
I do.
Which would be, doesn't do much for Chelsea. And
doesn't do anything for either of them, really. Yeah, it really doesn't,
Before we move off on it, your thoughts on Potter at the moment? I mean, there's a lot of flack there at the moment. The board have come out and said they're supporting him, but we know that there's a hefty payout there if they wanted to move him on. But we know that there's also a termination clause in there. Apparently, if he goes out of the Champions League and if mathematically he can't make top four, that payment reduces greatly. That payment as it stands at the moment, they were talking the other day, is somewhere in the region of 82 million, including his coaching staff. It's a massive amount of money. Now, obviously, he wouldn't get all of that.
No. Listen, it's going to be a slow burn. It was a slow burn initially when he came into Brighton, and even over the last couple of seasons, when Brighton were playing very, very well, they weren't necessarily getting the results that their performances deserved. And looking at Chelsea at the minute, I've got to be honest, and I said this to you, I don't think they're getting the results they deserve. I think they deserve to beat Southampton at the weekend. They had enough chances to do it. And I think they deserve to beat Dortmund last week. I thought they were excellent against Dortmund. I really did. But they're not putting the ball in the back of the net right now. They're not scoring goals. And they're leaking more than they need to, in order to stay in games long enough to nick it. You can't nick a game 1-0 if you've gone 1-0 down. Do you know what I mean? That's a problem. So
they're playing like a team in transition. They're playing like a team in transition.
Absolutely. And a couple of clean sheets here and there and a couple of goals, all of a sudden you wins. And we know they've got the players for it. Like I think last weekend I saw the boy Wesley Fofana come back on. Let's not forget how good this kid was when he was at Leicester. This could be a huge, huge piece of the puzzle at Chelsea. I'm going to say something, and lots of people are going to disagree with me here. I don't like looking at Chelsea with Thiago Silva in there. I think when I'm a centre-back and I'm playing in there with Thiago Silva, as good as he is and as well as he reads the game, I think I've always got one eye on him. Because he's just getting on a little bit. And I probably just keep my eye and I go, I need to keep a little eye over here to just make... It's kind of like playing next to... No, I'm not even going to say it. I was going to say something else and I go, I wouldn't even... I can't even deal with him. I can't even deal with him. I couldn't deal with him. He's far too good for that. But it's kind of like playing next to somebody like that lad that played in the red jersey. And you've always got to keep one eye on him. And when you've got to keep one eye on him, it's very hard to keep two eyes on what you're doing, And I kind of feel like Koulibaly and Badiashile have been good at times. I think I'd like to see them as a combination, but I would love to see, and we know Potter likes a back five. If you're going in with Wesley Fofana, Badiashile, Koulibaly, you're going in with a Reece James and a Mark Cucurella who now can get much more offensively because you got 3 top centre backs in behind them. You know, you got Enzo Fernandez there in midfield and stuff like that. That starts for me to start looking like something that I want if I'm a Chelsea fan and if I'm Graham Potter. You know, obviously Felix has been quite good. Hasn't got the goals just yet. He's got a couple, but hasn't got as many, obviously, because of the suspension. But he's looked tidy. He's looked like, he has a little bit of cutting edge to him, and with a couple of other guys in there. Look, if you're going in with Fernandez and Felix, the back 5 and the keeper, there's 8, right? They're 8 serious footballers. Another little sprinkling in there. Christopher Nkunku comes in the summer, goes up next to Felix. Another couple of midfielders in there. All of a sudden, you've got a serious side. Now, yeah, you got to make sure that you get rid of some of the shite in the background and you keep bringing in good quality players. But these guys know what they're doing, as in Potter knows how to get results in this league. He's done it for a couple of seasons now at Brighton. He knows how this league works. Given the time, he'll do it. I'm not going to say the resources because I don't think that's what he needs. I think he just needs time. He needs to get guys on side, and he needs to get guys who he wants in the team every week, and he needs to be given the time to say, this is what we want to do, and let's just go and get better at doing the basics and stuff like that,
Yeah, I did see a stat there the other day that his statistics are very similar between Brighton and Chelsea at the moment, isn't it?
Saw that.
And I was shocked when I seen it.
And you know what? That was something that I had in my mind. The fact that, there are parallels. He's gone and got through that with a Brighton. All of a sudden, Brighton started scoring goals and keeping clean sheets, and boom, the results came. They came. This will happen at Chelsea. I firmly believe this will happen at Chelsea. But you do have to give him a little bit of time and to get the playing style the way he wants. Still a lot going on at Chelsea behind the scenes as well. They've only just really got all their ducks lined up in a row. They still got guys like Aubameyang and Lukaku still signed the contracts. You want to get guys like that out of the building completely. It's something United had to do. The biggest thing for United was getting rid of voices as much as getting voices in. We had to get rid of Ronaldo. We had to get rid of Pogba. We had to get rid of Henderson. We had to get rid of guys like that, Jesse Lingard, who were bad influences in the dressing room and holding up the manager's progress and stuff like that. That has to happen at Chelsea,
Quick fire question for you, yes or no? From what you've seen so far,
yes,
and everything and the impatience of it,
yes.
You think he'll survive?
First game next season, he's still the manager.
Interesting. Yep. Good show. Joanne's in. She reckons Tottenham 2-0 against Chelsea. Big shout. And she's going in the Carabao Cup final 3-2 to Man United. Darren will take that all day.
It's a lot of goals. I don't think there's going to be that many goals.
Ted reckons City are going to thump Bournemouth here 5-1. Interesting. And take care of always an honour, fellas. Absolutely. Acer's in. Real Madrid destroying Liverpool wide open without consent. Absolutely. And Ted back in. I think I'd be more worried about my midfielders than Silva, to be honest.
Just seeing the Anthony goal. This is a lovely, lovely goal.
Yeah, lovely curl.
Lovely little left foot curler, little half volley. Just Fred shoots and it gets blocked out to him on the edge of the area. He just little half volley curler and sends it around the keeper into the far. Oh, that's a beautiful little finish.
Just Joanne here. I got 2 results right tonight. Joanne, you did. You got 2 scores results. You got 2 scores correct, but you got a number of results right. So yeah, you're doing yourself a disservice there. 2 scores you got right, but you got a number of results right. So fair play. Let's get into this one then. Let's talk Carabao Cup final. Where do we begin? Give me your thoughts.
Yeah, I suppose delighted to be here, obviously, we've been in a Carabao Cup final for quite a long time. This has been a trophy that kind of City and Liverpool have owned over the last number of years. I know both managers feel like it's the stepping stone to greatness, so to speak. And they have it very high on the priority list. I'd nearly go as far to say as, City and Liverpool for the last number of years have probably taken the Carabao as seriously as the FA Cup, because it was that early season success which managers felt could kick them on.
Gives you that springboard.
gives you that springboard, right? And I think that's obviously what we've got to hope for the weekend. We've had a great week so far. Obviously beating Leicester 3-0. We've obviously just put Barcelona out 2-1 on the night and 4-3 on aggregate. If we can finish this with a win at Wembley, this will be the week that football dreams are made of. This is a big one for us, bigger than Newcastle. I know Newcastle haven't won a trophy in a long, long time, but as people might not like to hear this, Newcastle aren't as big a club as Man United. They're just not. It doesn't matter who owns them. They're not there yet. They might be someday, but it'll take a long time. And we need this trophy to get that drought, get that monkey off our back, give Ten Hag and the lads a little bit of confidence going into the end of the season where we can really push for more silverware and a good finish in the league and stuff like that,
Yeah, it's an interesting one for me. I looked at it and I was thinking, and here, I'm going to pull a big one out here now, right? You pulled a big one out earlier with Thiago Silva. I'm going to pull a big one out here now. I said there during the week in my own thoughts that if United beat Barcelona and end up in the draw and get a favourable draw tomorrow, which they probably will, looking at the teams that are in it, and the chances of you drawing Arsenal are pretty slim, in fairness, in a draw that size. If you win the Carabao Cup on Sunday and you beat West Ham next week in the FA Cup to get through to the next round, are we starting to feel, is there shades of potential quadruple here?
There's the green shoots revival for a start, and that's important, It's been a long time coming, I won't lie. We've had 3 or 4 really, really tough years. The Solskjaer and Rangnick years were very, very difficult. Very, very difficult. We haven't lifted a trophy since Jose Mourinho. That's too long for this club. And this is about getting the monkey off the back and showing the lads that everything we've done up to now has worked, and keep buying into it, keep the head down, keep moving towards goal, and things will happen. We're very lucky at the minute. Everyone's singing from the same hymn sheet and everyone's pulling in the one direction, and that's important when you're going into games like this.
Yeah, absolutely. I just think it's I'm not scared to say it anyway. I've a sneaky feeling about United and the title this year. I just have a sneaky feeling about it, and I just don't know. I just look at United at the moment, and I look with Eric Ten Hag there, and I see shades of really, really clever stuff going on there at the moment. But I also see shades of some of that luck that United used to have as well. And I don't mean look in a bad way.
No.
Like an earned kind of look that if you work hard enough, you reap the rewards.
Take the ball and bounce the right way for you.
And look, that look frustrated me for years, but it's kind of like, I just see shades of the old United coming back, similar to Fergie kind of thing. And he was out for dinner with Fergie the other night, and they were talking it all up, and you know what I mean. I just think he's making the right moves, kind of.
I've got to be honest. I could have cried looking at the picture.
Yeah,
it was brilliant. Just the tip, someone's obviously closed that restaurant. That's closed completely, and the 2 lads are obviously being looked after. Behind closed doors, as you would say, and it's a great picture. It looks unbelievable. Just it's great to think he might have been getting another couple of little golden nuggets from the man who did it all. Do you know what I mean?
It was like an episode of First Dates, wasn't it?
Almost. Do you reckon he dropped the hand?
Only for the bill. Tell us this. Give us a prediction for this. What are you going with?
I'm gonna go. I got a question actually. In the Carabao Cup final, if the game's a draw, do we go to extra time, or does it go straight to penalties?
No, well, we went extra time and penalties, didn't we, on both finals last year?
Okay.
As far as I know.
So I'm gonna go 3-2 to United after extra time.
After extra time.
Yep.
Interesting.
2-2 during 2-2 to win this during 90 minutes. Or sorry, 2-2 during 90 minutes, and United to win it 3-2 after 90.
Ted was listening to me last week, wasn't he? United to win and Bruno anytime scored or the penalty taker. Good man, Ted.
Which Bruno does he win?
Oh, well, it's not Gemmerich. Well, I assume it's not anyway if he's picking United.
He could be hedging his bets here. Ted's a clever guy, don't forget.
Yeah,
Ted
that's one of those pockets where you
to say
Bruno to score anytime and don't put the name on it. Yeah, absolutely. Ted is saying there we can't draw Arsenal in the next round of the Europa. Can't play a team from your league in this round of it. Is that correct? I'm not sure.
I don't know, but we know there's protection like that in the Champions League, don't forget. So it wouldn't shock me if there's protection like that in the Europa in the round we're in.
Yeah, I just heard a number of pundits. I heard a number of pundits today and yesterday talking about potentially United Arsenal in the draw. So I'm not
pundits
too sure
are lads. I wouldn't listen to. I'd probably listen to Ted ahead of the pundits. Ted to be quite knowledgeable.
Ted's spot on. He says, yeah, they said it on the commentary tonight.
Yeah,
no problem. So that's one you probably would have wanted.
Yeah, I wouldn't have been unhappy with Arsenal. I got to be honest with you.
No, absolutely not.
As you know, as good as they are, they're certainly not a team I look at and go, "Oh shit, we've got Arsenal." I wouldn't fear them. I would have so much more fear with City than with Arsenal. You know, I think the potential at City is so much bigger than the potential at Arsenal. I think Arsenal are getting a lot out of what they have. I think City aren't, and that's the difference for me. You know.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll touch on a couple of topics quickly, right? And then we'll go into Beat the Bookie. So the first one I wanted to touch on was Joe Cancelo was speaking this week, and he lifted the lid on this apparent row with Pep, and he said there wasn't a row. He says there was a meeting and there was a discussion, and Pep made it very clear to him that in the direction that he was going, that Joe would be his maybe second or third choice, and the decision was then made there because this boy, as we know, kind of gets a bit disgruntled if he's not playing and wants to play, and that's fair enough, and that's what you want from your player.
I was going to say, you know what? I love the idea of it. I'm not playing, no problem. That's fine. Let me go.
Yeah,
let me go play, because I've only got one career, and I don't want to look back at it and say, "Oh, should have done more, could have done better." You know, I like the idea of that. I have a funny little story, if you'd like, about João Cancelo.
Yeah, go on.
So there's a couple of kids that I coach, and they went skiing a couple of weeks ago in Austria, the Bavarian Alps there. But on the way home, the deal was if everything went well at skiing, they were going to go and watch a Bayern game in the Allianz Arena on the Saturday, and then they were going to fly home on the Sunday. So everything went well at skiing, and they ended up at Bayern versus Bochum, which was Saturday week, I think. Bayern won the game 3-0. But one of the lads is a Man City fan, had his City jersey on underneath his track top. And at half time, when the lads were coming down, he was quite close to where the bench was, and Cancelo signed the City jersey for him.
Oh, nice.
You know. Now he also got Kingsley Coleman and Thomas Muller, but he said they signed the Bayern scarf, not the City jersey. But it was a nice little touch, you know.
Yeah, no, that's nice. Nice story, yeah. It's nice to see that as well. And it's nice to see there's no, and like, I think, the story, the way it came out, he said there was no massive fallout, and he said it was a cordial conversation where both people just disagreed. Right, you don't want me, this is not where I'm going to be, get me out of here. So that's fair enough, and that's the way it should be.
Absolutely. And I mean, he also appreciates as a player that managers come in and out, and you know, you play for the club, they pay your wages, and just because the manager doesn't like it doesn't mean the club have an issue with you, you know. And if Pep was to leave tomorrow, would the new manager want Cancelo in? I'd say there's a good chance he would, you know.
Absolutely. Here's one for you that came out this week. A man who's never too far from stating things a little bit controversial. So I wanted to get your thoughts on this one. One Andrew Cole this week, namely Andy Cole. You would remember, you Man United fans, but Andrew Cole now
Was
Has
he the
claimed.
guy that needed 14 chances to score? Was that him?
He was brilliant at Newcastle, I have to say, though, wasn't he? Remember at Newcastle, he was on fire.
And he won loads of trophies there as well at Newcastle, didn't he?
Probably a few golden boots,
Oh
maybe.
my God. Sorry, you'll enjoy this one later. Another David De Gea save right out of the top drawer.
That's right.
Ball into the box and a Jules Koundé header. Did you see it?
Yeah, I was watching the game.
Ooh. It's our
Yeah.
boy Dave. Big Dave makes saves.
But Andrew Cole claimed, just get your quick thoughts on this. Andrew Cole claimed that the duo of Marcus Rashford and Casemiro would not make it into the 99 treble winning side.
Yeah, he's talking out of his hole.
Interesting. Give me your thoughts then on this. And Ted, you give me your thoughts if you're still in the chat as well. I know you're in there, United.
Well, when we say the title winning side, you don't win the title with 11 men. Yeah. So, and then obviously you look at Rashford and you say, all right, well, 2 years ago, would he have got into the team? Nope. Would this version of Rashford get into a team? Absolutely. The guy's been electric. He's been on fire. I think Casemiro's I just think he's Bisto. He's Bisto. He really is. Everything he does, the way he just sits and just pops the ball about, he just sees so much that we haven't seen from a United midfielder in such a long time. I would say what we're getting under Casemiro is probably what we thought we'd get under Paul Pogba.
Saved your skin tonight as well with a block. That was a definite goal. Blocked one. Just off. You'll see it later now. Unbelievable.
The assumption can be made that when we had Paul Pogba in the team, we expected him to do things that Casemiro was done. Control that midfield, set the tempo, pick passes, score goals. Pogba didn't do it.
How naive we were.
Casemiro was absolutely doing it. All round. Absolutely all round. He's been unbelievable.
Absolutely. Here's an interesting one for you. We're sticking on a kind of Man United team with it being the Carabao Cup final and stuff like that, Man United apparently informed PSG that they are ready to sanction Neymar's exit. Genuine interest has emerged. I know this won't. Would this sit well with you now? I'm looking at you there and I'm thinking, Neymar at United?
I tell you what, right? No, well, I mean, like, you've seen like guys like Marcus Rashford be dropped under Eric Ten Hag, yeah? Because, he sets standards. Do we think a guy like Neymar is the kind of guy who's going to live up to the standards of an Eric Ten Hag?
I don't think Eric Ten Hag will be giving them the month off in January all the time or the February for the sister's birthday. Not a chance.
We got Bob Hope and we got his mate, and that's no hope. Was that the Waterford Whispers that came out from, or where was it?
Some of them I pull from there. They're always a good source. Them bench warmers and Sports Bible. They're all pretty good. Good collection there. Chelsea, little whispers coming out of Chelsea, although they said they're backing Graham Potter, their man at the moment. Little whispers have been coming out about potential replacements, including a 15 million per year contract offered to potentially Zinedine Zidane.
I don't know if that's where I'd be going. Sorry, let me I'll retweet that. Hang on.
Let's roll it back there, Colette.
Yeah. So first of all, if I was Todd Bowley, I don't think that's the move I would make. If I was Zinedine Zidane, it's absolutely the move I wouldn't fucking make.
That is exactly the move Todd Bowley would make, isn't it? You could see it. You could see him standing there with him.
You could
100%.
absolutely see it. Yeah. But from Zidane's point of view, I don't think that's where you want to go. And I personally. But listen, I see a Zidane coming into a Pep Guardiola-less Manchester City? Absolutely. Because potentially
maybe Pep goes chasing different money down in London.
You just don't know. You
Good
just don't
Lord,
know.
can you imagine?
Because when he was handed that team at Real Madrid, he was able to keep the ropes going, and he was able to, get them through game by game and get them to trophies and stuff like that. But I don't know about City, or sorry, I don't know about Chelsea. Chelsea's a big build. There's a big build at Chelsea. I don't know if Zinedine didn't fancy that.
Yeah, Henry Ray Baker channeled in the chat. How are you, Henry? He's been messaging me tonight as well. Good to see you there, Henry. People, get over, sub on his channel there, will you? Support the guy. Fantastic stuff there.
Excellent, Henry.
Well, let's see. I have a couple of other good ones. We spoke about Javi Garcia. We know that Garnacho's close to his contract. We don't need to dwell on that too much. The other one I wanted to bring up for you, I wanted to get your thoughts on this. Don't know if you picked this up from Carragher the other day.
I did see this.
It was quite a poignant comment, really. It's amazing how all these ex-Liverpool players who are now pundits, we're going along nicely on the gravy train for the last 4 years or 4.5 years, and all of a sudden they've become nearly as toxic as what the fan base has become. But this was an interesting one, wasn't it?
But don't forget that, like you got to remember, Carragher is the fan base.
Yeah,
and Carragher's the fan base before he's a pundit in my eyes. Because which came first, Jamie Carragher was a Liverpool fan or Jamie Carragher was a pundit? Well, it's the Liverpool fan. You know what I mean? So I can see how you could get frustrated with watching what's going on at the minute.
Well, also we have to remember as well, Virgil took a bite out of him 2 months ago as well. So
absolutely, so there was handbags at dawn, handbags at dawn, But listen, I don't think pundits in this position need to be getting on the back of the team. We've seen this for a number of years at United, where guys were throwing their tuppence in and saying this and saying that and saying this and saying that. The club don't need you to say anything. They haven't asked you to say anything. You're not speaking on their behalf. You're not speaking on the fans' behalf. Your opinion is your opinion and you're entitled to it, but that doesn't necessarily mean that every time you say something it's right, or every time, you want to put something out there, you shouldn't feel like there's going to be ramifications about what people say. Like that's... if I disagree with something someone says, I fully have the opportunity to go in there and say it to them, and that should be what's allowed,
So would you have agreed with him? Does he take Virgil's place?
No, I don't think he does.
Okay, I just wanted to get...
I don't think he does.
Absolutely.
I got to be honest. I don't rank Jamie Carragher anywhere. Absolutely anywhere. Like, as a footballer.
Really?
Genuinely. And that's not a United, because you know me. Like, it's not a United Liverpool thing. Was he absolutely unbelievable? No. Ever.
Yeah, I you know something? I think you're being... No, but I think you're being a bit harsh there as well. I mean, he was operating, if you remember, at his time in the league, where at times we were a very basic side, should I say?
Yeah, but he was bang average on his own.
Yeah, but he also operated at a time in the league where there was some fantastic centre backs. Like if you look at Vidic and Ferdinand, and you look at some of the centre back pairings that have come through that league during the time of his career.
I just at times
it's a tough bar to reach.
Yeah, it is, but I just hear people mention him, now and again, and even hear him talk himself. Obviously when, like, I'll tell you here, I'll give you this one, right? So last week on BT, they're doing the intro. Kate Abdo was in charge, right? And they're doing, or CBS, whatever it was the American, wasn't it? And they've got Thierry Henry, Jamie Carragher, and Mika Richards, right? And they talk about Thierry Henry, Champions League winner. Jamie Carragher, Champions League winner. Mika Richards played 4 games in the Champions League. Right. I'd have Mika Richards over Jamie Carragher every day of the week and twice on a Sunday. Fact.
Well, it's only a fact for you. It wouldn't be a fact for me.
That's what I'm saying. That's
Yeah.
That's
I
my.
kind of know where you're coming from, but I thought you were going to come from the point where you separated the footballer from the human, and that might be a
No,
different conversation.
because you know what? Actually, I've no problem with the human. And I think I met him a couple of years ago. He stayed in the room opposite me in a hotel. He was doing, he was having a night with Carabao. And I came back from the goal dust inside the ropes, and I was chatting to him, and the whole shooting match, and we just had a few bevies, and everything, and he was a lovely guy, lovely guy. But as a footballer, I genuinely would hold my hand up and go, bang average, absolutely bang average.
I have to show you this lad, folks.
Here
Look
we
at
go.
this lad. He has the hood on.
Oh no!
Yeah,
What happened?
He had an operation yesterday. He's the mascot, but he had an operation yesterday.
That
He's in good
Coda?
form today. That's Ronnie.
That's Ronnie.
He lost his nads yesterday, so he's getting over the anaesthetic and stuff like that. But he has a few stitches in, and he has to wear the hood for a few days. But he's recovering and he's in good form. So shout out to Ronnie.
That makes me.
He's a good lad.
That gives me the. Oof, that. Oh Jesus, that.
Yeah.
I went down to
the severity of it.
One of the reasons I was late was just one of the many reasons was Andrew had football training. And I had to collect him from football training, which I don't usually do, but his mammy was otherwise occupied and daddy was on duty tonight, which is fine. And a guy got down the right hand side and he chopped the ball back inside. And as he chopped the ball back inside, it fell to someone. And your man just, it was like a side foot smash. And he side foot smashed it. And it hit Andrew plumb in the face. Now, when I mean plumb. And everyone's like, oh my God, what a save. Now, I had seen it hit him in the face. It probably looked like he might have got a hand on it and it turned it behind. But I could see then as we were taking the corner, he had to go down for a second to be like, I can't see because the eyes must have been watering and the whole, and his nozzle was just like inflamed. And yeah, he took a nice one.
Character building.
Just what and I was like, it was one of those moments when, oh God, I felt that. That hurt.
Probably as a that on the sideline, you're probably more proud of him getting up from that than you would be just from a normal save because he has a bit about him.
Absolutely.
He has a bit about him. Nice one. Well done, Andy.
Yeah, and a couple of years ago, he'd absolutely had to been taken off because he'd been in a hula hoop. Whereas obviously now he does a little bit of the boxing. So he boxes Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So he's toughening up a little bit. I said to him, kid, you need to do this boxing. You need to toughen up. You're a fucking pansy. And he said, oh, all right, Dad, okay. And he's doing it now just over a year. And he can take a few jabs and a few smacks now. And we roll with it. It's great. It's great.
I was going to say the older you get, the less you cared about your looks, but that won't wash with me or you.
No, that certainly doesn't.
Right, let's do Beat the Bookie. I will do Beat the Bookie tonight, no doubt, because you were busy.
Yeah, but also, did you send me any messages today?
No. Was I supposed to?
You did.
What message did I send you today?
I'll tell you now. But the messages you sent me today didn't arrive because the internet on my phone went. So I've been without my phone. We spoke at lunchtime today, yeah? Like 1 o'clock-ish?
Yeah.
And I haven't had phone since 1 o'clock till I got back into the house at 9:30. Nothing.
And all those bookmakers you drove by.
57 WhatsApps when I came in, and emails, and this on Facebook and that on Instagram. And I was like, Jesus Christ. It was heart-wrenching.
Not a problem. Well, I have 3 tonight for you anyway, right? So I'm going to start off. I have a nice little treble, 3 draws for you. And I'm going with Everton.
Is it the 3 rallies? Is it 3 relegation battles?
Yeah, not far off.
Forest, is it Forest, Leeds and Everton?
It's Forest, Leeds and Everton, yeah. Great show. Forest,
thanks.
Leeds. Sorry,
and you know what?
Yeah, Forest, Leeds and Everton all to draw.
Yep. I think it's a great bet.
36-1.
I think it's a great bet.
Not a bad one, sure.
Yeah. Yeah,
I do
absolutely.
pick them
And you know
sometimes.
what? They all look very, very viable. Now, listen, I think Leeds might just get over the line, but I think that's definitely worth a fiver, isn't it?
Yeah, we'll go with that one definitely.
That'd be what are we talking there off that? Like fiver get you 180 bills off that.
185. Yeah, you get your fiver back and
Ooh,
everything. Not too bad at all.
happy Saturday.
And not a stretch. Not a stretch.
Not at all.
Yeah. Next one I did over 2.5 goals, and I went for Fulham and Wolves. I went
Okay,
for Leicester and Arsenal.
that's a definite.
I went for Bournemouth and Man City,
That's a definite. Yeah.
and I went for Palace and Liverpool. Has to be
And
a
you know
2.
what? You know what? I think if I was going with that one, what I would do, only me personally, I'd take out the Fulham and Wolves one, and I put United and Newcastle in.
Just because of the Friday night thing and all.
I just think sometimes on the Friday night, everyone's
With
real
the
up
early
for everything's
kickoff. With
tight.
the
It's a
early
little bit,
kickoff.
yeah, you know, yeah.
Yeah, it's like the
Yeah,
lunchtime
so I'd
Saturday.
take that, and I'd say you'd probably get a similar enough price.
Yeah, well, it's not a huge price. It's 8-1. So
So
it's
I was
not
gonna say,
massive.
yeah, what's it about? I thought about 10, so 8 will do. Yeah, that's all right.
Now, I picked out a nice Carabao Cup final one for you. I did a bet builder on the
So the
Carabao
bet
Cup
builder.
final.
And now you like
Yeah,
a good bet builder,
bet
don't you?
builder. Yeah. So I did Man United to win.
Right.
I
Both
did
teams to score.
both teams to score.
Casemiro to see a yellow.
No, I did Bruno to be booked.
Okay, right. Yeah, okay.
Bruno to be booked. And the man
And
of the
Rashford
moment
any
at the
time.
moment. No, Rashford to score 2 or more.
Woo! That
Rashford
means
to
it's big
score
money.
2 or more.
That means it's big money.
66 to 1.
It's not bad. You know, the only thing I would say, and here's how my head thinks: who marks Rashford at the weekend?
Who was on that side? The opposite side
Kieran
of Dan
Trippier.
Burn.
Kieran Trippier.
Rashford eat him alive.
No.
We had him alive last weekend.
No. He's decent. I like Trippier.
Nunes tortured him somewhat last weekend. Really? You're worried about
the only
Rashford
person
torturing him?
the only person Nunes tortured was himself. Jesus.
Yeah, maybe afterwards or something. Yeah,
Tortured.
absolutely. They're the 3 bets I have for you. That's what I put together today. So
yeah,
it was
they're tasty.
Bet builder Man United 66 to 1. The 3 draws to do Everton, Villa, Leeds, Southampton, West Ham, Notts Forest 36 to 1, which I think is a great bet. And then,
I think
as
it's
you
all
said,
right.
a bit of a stretch. Whip Fulham and Wolves out maybe and put United and Newcastle
And stick
in.
United and Newcastle in. Yeah, absolutely.
You probably get in around the same odds.
You sure would, yeah.
The over 2.5 goals at 8 to 1. They're the 3 bets for this week, folks. I think for the charity bet, we'll go with the 3 draws, will we?
I think the 3 draws is the bet to go for, yeah. I really do.
3 draws, and if the 180 comes in, we'll send it off. I think we'll have to send it off to a dog one this week, considering little Ronnie's here.
And he lost his nuts.
Lost his nuts, and he has his hood on and stuff like that, and he's waiting for me to get down and make him a bit of toast. Because you know yourself, after an operation or being in hospital,
the tea and toast is the best thing you've ever had in your life, right?
Absolutely. Now, my friend,
I gotta give a big shout out.
Yeah, go ahead.
Got to give a big shout out to a man that follows us here, and a buddy of mine, Graham Barry. Graham was in the other day. He was having a sleep apnea test in the Bond Secure Hospital, you know, and he sent me a picture. Now, I'm not joking you. I don't know how many bells and whistles you can fit in a man, but they gave it a good stab, you know. And I seen him today, and I says to him, I says, how'd you get on the sleep test? He says, it wasn't great. I said, was it not great? No. He said, no, it was. I says, it must have been hard enough to sleep with all that gear on you from, you know, tubes here, this, there. And I just thought the bloke looked like fucking Robocop. There was that much metal on him. Yeah. And I'm thinking, how's he going to sleep like that? How are you going to get a fair reflection of how the guy sleeps night to night if you stuck him in a bed that's A, not his own, and B, you had 52 different things jabbed into him. So I know he was feeling a bit rough. So I saw him today and I says, don't worry, pal, I'll give you a shout out on the tier talk later on, buddy.
Absolutely.
Hope you're feeling better, pal.
I had a friend of mine I used to go away playing golf with and stuff like that, and he had one of those machines where he'd have the F-16 mask on him, going to bed, looking like a toy, like a fighter pilot. And the machine just sounded like a generator. It was crazy. Crazy stuff. We're thinking 2023 medical advances will be way better than what we're used to now, isn't it?
You absolutely would. Yeah, 100%.
Acers with one for you. Dazzler, favourite player. Di Maria scored a hat-trick today for Juventus. Yeah, absolutely. And the boy was on fire. And in fairness to him, whether you like him or you don't like him, he had a pretty good World Cup as well, in fairness.
Do you know what I'd love?
Go on.
Do you know what would delight me?
A pizza?
It would absolutely... My man. It would, it would absolutely delight me to get Juve in the next round and dunk Pogba and Di Maria out in their snot.
Well, you won't be dumping Pogba. Did you see the story from him? He hasn't kicked the ball yet since he went there.
He's back in training this week.
Fair play to him. Good man, Paul.
Toughing it out, isn't he? I'd love that. And I'd love to see Lisandro Martinez absolutely go through Angel Di Maria for a shortcut and just leave him in a little pile of bones at the side of the pitch. Just stack them like, when you go to a nice restaurant and they stack your chips at like 3 at the bottom, then 3 the other way, and then 3 on tops. Like that. They make a like a Rubik's Cube out of your chips. I'd like to see that done with Angel Di Maria's bones.
To give you less. It's to give you less chips. That's why they do it.
They only give you 9. They only ever give you the 9. That's all, Looks like a little Rubik's Cube of fucking triple fried chips, right? I'd like to see that done. I'd like to see that done with Angel Di Maria's bones at the side of the Old Trafford pitch. You rat-faced little...
If you're only going to give me 9 chips, you better be giving me 2 batch heels to go with it.
Absolutely.
I'm not interested.
Does Angel Di Maria make Kai Havertz look like Zoolander? Yeah,
we're getting very close to zombie land, aren't we, really?
I'm telling you.
Until next time, what a show. Check out, of course, my preview for the Crystal Palace game. And I thank people. After my match reaction the other night after the Real Madrid game, I had a number of people reached out to me. They were a bit concerned about how down I was. So shout out to Warren's team.
Were you very down?
I was a broken man. I said on the reaction, I said I felt the same way the night of Kiev. I felt the same way last June. I felt the same way about the Aston Villa game and a number of other things. I was quite broken about it. It was as bad as can get.
I'm trying to... I know we didn't really talk about it, because obviously, like,
I've talked about it. I've talked about it.
Yeah, but you're now every other Liverpool fan, I brought it up straight away.
You get me
You're my buddy. You're my buddy, right? So I was like, I'm just gonna step out here. I've been there. I bought the t-shirt. I was in the Stretford end last year when you guys tonked us 5-0. I was like, you know what? I'm just gonna stay out here because nobody needs me in here right now, and that's what I did. I was so proud of myself.
When those things happened as well, I didn't rub it in either. I think I've been
right, and I was like,
during your downtime.
I said, you know what? I'm gonna just step out of this. I said, now I seen a few Liverpool fans on Facebook giving out about this and that. I thought,
I get it.
And you know what the best is, when people are trying to be magnanimous in defeat, and you're like, "Jeez, pal, you guys are fucking shit, man." Yeah, it wasn't our best night at the office. Best night at the office? We was at the office. I said, you look like you had suits on. You were fucking dog shit. Actually, the back four looked like they had straight jackets on. The fuck happened to Alisson? When did he swap with Basil Fawlty? What happened there?
Did you drop anything? Klopp has to go. Did you go that far?
No. I listened. It was too easy.
See, if I was you, I would have went that far to see who I could get to agree with me, even if I don't believe it.
I'll tell you exactly what I did. Right. So I'm upstairs at this stage. The whole bedroom's pitch dark. She's asleep. I got the phone in my hand, right? And I'm just sitting there in the room in the dark on. Giggling to myself at the reactions, sitting the bed is like jiggling like this, what's the line go like in The Night Before Christmas? His bowl juggled around like a bowl full of jelly. Do you know what I mean? Yeah, it was like that, and I'm just sitting there giggling in the bed. The whole room was dark. It was just brilliant. It was tops. It was tops, and all the little boys just jumping in, and I thought this is too easy.
Yeah. So listen,
Oh,
great show as always. Shout out to
thanks,
everyone
pal.
in the chat and shout out to all their channels: Henry Ray Baker,
My
Ted
humblest apologies
Entertainment.
to everybody for my tardiness tonight. Won't happen again next week. Don't worry.
No problem at all. And obviously, Cheapy Productions podcast. Check out all the channels. Coyle, Walsh, Gunner as well. The realest of fans. Check out all these channels and give them all your support. I will be back on Saturday night with a match reaction for my sins again, as I do.
Jesus.
This is my
I
therapy.
was going to say you're a real glutton for punishment, aren't you? Jesus Christ.
Yeah, and I might even drop a little one tomorrow based on the draw for the Europa, but I'll see what happens. I might not have to delve down that far.
Jeez, El Ajax gone out
Yeah.
of the Europa.
Mm.
The Eric Ten Hagless Ajax have gone out to Union Berlin. How the mighty have fallen.
Union Berlin are having a real good season this season if you've been following
Sure
them.
are. They're about fourth in the league, aren't they?
Yeah, third or fourth, I think. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. They've been having a real good one.
The Europa League group winners: Arsenal, Fenerbahce, Ferencváros, Feyenoord, Freiburg, Betis, Sociedad, and Union St. Gallen. There's some shit football teams in there, isn't there?
All of them.
There is some shit football teams in there.
All
My
of
God.
them. All.
Jesus Christ, man.
What's the chances of Ajax? What's the chances of Eric Ten Hag leaving Ajax and then Ajax going out with the Champions League and the Europa League? Good Lord.
You see who made it through to the next round, or did you?
No.
One Jose Mourinho in Roma.
I seen that. I called that. Actually, I did. I called that today that they'd go through because they were on the edge, all right. But I think they ran through.
You know what? It was 2-1 on the night. I think it's 3-2 on aggregate.
Yeah.
It's sorry, you're right. Sorry, it was 1-0. It was 2-1 on aggregate. It was 2-0 on the night. You're 100% right.
Yeah.
Had a blonde moment there, a brain fart. I'd say he would get a reasonable welcome at Old Trafford. Certainly not for me, because I never wanted the guy. But I know there's a lot of fans that feel like he was hard done by there at United, and because obviously finished second, talked about how it was one of his greatest achievements in football. Looked for a centre back, looked for another forward. They wouldn't give him what he wanted, and we know how things ended up. Then the tide turned a little bit, but I think he'd get a reasonable.
Yeah, my comment to that would be: you can't be hard done by everywhere you go.
Well, this is the Mario Balotelli "Why Always Me" T-shirt, you know.
Absolutely. Right, I got to head off.
You and me both.
During the weekend. I'll be chatting to you tomorrow anyway as we go on our merry
way
endeavour to try and deliver money in the bank tickets, but we shall see. Until next time, folks, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification, and of course, like on the video. Cheers, my friend.